Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Monday afternoon / evening Zoom edition, and we've had some events, some world rocking events over the weekend. There was an attack in Israel, Hamas versus Israel. Israel declared war, and its war is never good in the short term for the markets, for any market. So today's Columbus Day in the US, but the markets were open and the crypto markets are obviously open 24/7. So yeah, everything dipped. I don't know if I'd use the word dump, but let's go to the charts and we'll see what happened. So you should see my Bitcoin day chart.
Yep.
All right,
Well, yeah.
let's shrink that. Let's go to an hour chart. So we had quite a bit of chop. I think the news hit here, and then we had quite a bit of a chop when the market opened. We almost lost 27K, definitely lost 28K. We've had a bit of a rebound in the last couple hours for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, let's do the same thing. Go to the hour chart. It has not recovered. It's dropped, hit 1550, the bottom of my zone here. It did bounce back up a little bit. We're not up to 1600 yet, which has been the support, for our last couple of dips over here earlier in October, and then this one here on Sunday before the news hit. So what's the effect of this? In the short term, obviously, the markets get nervous, they don't like uncertainty, and they sell off. But this could be a pretty good buying opportunity, as callous as that sounds. I put a video in the chat. It's entitled Israel War, How This Will Impact Bitcoins by Kyle Chase. You can find it on YouTube if you're hearing this Zoom and you don't, and if I forget to put the link in the email or however you found me, go check out that video. I think it's a thoughtful approach, and he goes over how the markets have reacted over the last several hundred years in wars involving the US, going back to Civil War, Revolutionary War. So yeah, and generally speaking, there's a short-term dip and then a pretty good recovery usually is how it works. So you may want to keep that in mind, especially if you're doing some hodling or some mid to long-term swing trading. Could be a buying opportunity. So that's what I
Sounds
have for the
like a
markets
neat video.
overall. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good video. Anybody else have some comments or questions about the world events and how they affect the markets? Okay, well, and there's probably conflicting, information out there about that kind of thing. So you may want to check out one or more opinions, but the numbers don't lie. Usually there's a dip and then a pump, so function accordingly. So what do we do now? To be candid today, I did not trade. I did leave some of my auto trading going, but I didn't make any manual trades. And you can see on my list here, it's all red. Most of the altcoins have lost between 3 to say 7%. A couple of the smaller ones a little bit more. I was disappointed in Ethereum though. I thought it would hold its value better, and it's down over 3%. There's always a couple outliers. OGN up 5%. And Storage, this one's been kind of crazy lately. I've traded this one all summer and early fall. So those might be a couple that we look at. Now that the market's dipped and it's going sideways and coming up for certain coins, now or tomorrow might be a time to get in if you're brave on the markets. You may want to go in with less than usual, so you can buy additional positions if necessary. let's keep that in mind as we look for some day trades. So I will go over to Altcoin Alert, and I am on the altcoin radar view. I'm going to reload, update, get the latest information. And the first thing I usually do is sort by the AA score. Quite a few high scorers. I have not seen this many over 80 this calendar year. So yeah, a lot. And we have to remember what the AA score is. The AA score often identifies a coin that's been pummeled and is due for a rebound. So what the AA score is telling us, say in regarding Doge or Kava, over an 80% chance it's going to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. So that's what we're looking for. I've been scraping to find values over 80 most of the calendar year. Now I got several to choose from. So I like trading Doge as a day trade. I don't own it otherwise. Kava is pretty good. And, you know, classics like ADA and Raven, H-bar I like. But then we're starting to drift out of the 80s now. So we'll start with Doge. Okay. And frequent attendee Frank would not get off my case about the cumulative delta indicator. So I've tossed this in as something to look at for confirmation. It's probably as good, if not better, than the squeeze momentum I was using. So I'm going to try this out for a while. I still like to trade off this RTI, which is similar to the RSI, but I think it over the long term it'll be better. But I like on the cumulative delta, it'll help you stay in trades longer if you want to keep watching them. That's not really how I trade. I like take profits immediately determined, and then I walk away, so I don't mess with my trades too much. But you know, if you're more of a swing trader, this kind of indicator can be useful. Okay, let's start on the 5-minute and see if we can find a dip trade. We don't really have that in Doge. We had it here. Got a big drop and it's gone sideways. And it's really squeezy now on the 5-minute. I don't know if I've ever seen Doge like this before. Yeah, not even a 0.5%, not even a 0.5% between the Bollinger Bands. So that's not where I want to get in. If you anticipate a second dip, you might want to put a price alert down here in this green zone. I'm using the supply and demand visible range to help me identify the range, but they're almost on top of each other in this 5-minute chart. So I'm not sure how useful that would be. So I would probably just go with this support right here at 58.5817. If you want to set a price alert, right click like this, add your alert, probably do something like that, and AA score purchase, and your notifications. I've got it on my app, my phone app, a pop-up on my desktop computer, and it also plays a sound. So that's how I do my alerts. And if you want to do a price alert, that's how I usually do it anyway. I prefer to do indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. I've been using the RTI in 2 ways. And I'll move this up. I've been using it if it crosses up or down the 50 value, which is more of a trend trading approach. And then I also like to use it if it dips below the 20 and comes back up. And these are all terrible examples of that because it just went sideways down and then down even more. So this is where if you're going to trade this market, you go in small, hold a lot of your balance back for additional purchases. Or set tight stop losses and know that you're going to be stopped out from time to time. So in this approach, Let's start with the 50 value first. We don't have any going over 50. It might be difficult to talk about how I trade on this particular day. We do get a nice short entry here. That was on Saturday night. The dips below the 50. I don't know if that one would have triggered or not. This one might have. Double click this RTI and get a closer look. Yeah, it looks like that one would have gone above the 50 and then come back down. So that would have crossed here. Had I been up at 8 o'clock, had I been trading at 7:30 on a Sunday morning, that would have been a good entry, as with this one here prior. But I also like to get in on this if it comes up and crosses. And obviously that would have been a terrible long trade because it just goes sideways and down. So that's not so good. Now, let's say you take the short here. And I probably would have gotten out if I'm following the cumulative. If I get 2 or 3 green candles together, that's probably where I get out. If I'm using this on the 15-minute, I think Frank uses it on a smaller scale. But I haven't really used this enough to talk intelligently about it. So I think I'm just going to use it for confirmation now. So on this short, we do have several red candles and it's drifting down. That would have been good confirmation on that one. On this long, we don't have any confirmation. It's still trending down. It's mostly red. So that would have helped me avoid that trade. And there's really no other long trades using the 50 value. The other way I like to use this is to catch this on what could be a retrace. So if it dips below the 20 and comes back up, that could be useful. And we have that a few times here. And maybe I would have taken that trade because I've got 4 green bands here and it crosses above the 20. And it would have gone up a little bit. Yeah, I would have gotten in right about here. Yeah, so it goes up 0.3% and then craters down like here, like 7%. So I'd probably still be in that trade. Any long I would have taken off these setups, so I'd still be in. So it's hard to be real technical as a trader when you have I wouldn't say this is a black swan event, maybe like a gray swan event. So I think I'll move on from this one. Any questions on Doge? See if we can find something better.
I would just add that how I'm using the cumulative delta again. If you look at that 9 on the bottom there, when it became the 9th, you go up and you see those first few bigger red candles. Okay, when you start to see that, expect a move to the downside.
Yeah.
And if you start seeing green ones, expect. Now you can wait as long as you want. You can use whatever other confirmation you want, but that's when I start looking for a move. And that's telling me that the sellers are in control. When there's
we also have a cluster of green candles somewhere here, like here.
Right. That there was a little bounce there.
Here. So
I agree. Nothing's perfect, but
no.
If you combine that with other indicators, it tips the scale for me. And if they're pretty level, you don't see an obvious drop like you did just slightly to the left, but it's alternating red and green, but they sort of level out, and that's telling you you're going just pretty much sideways. There isn't a predominant move. That's how I use it. So, and I usually use it on the 2-minute more often, and you find them very early. You see those color changes and sizes almost like a leading indicator. It happens frequently early. Not in every case, doesn't work perfect on anything, and some coins it doesn't work on well at all, but that's how I use it.
Okay.
So for what it's worth.
Well, guys, I'm gonna try to learn this one together, or we'll learn this one together. With Frank can give us some guidance since he has the most experience with it. But I'm always up for considering a different confirmation indicator.
And I will also add that I sometimes use the RTI crossing its moving average, not only the 50 or the 20 and 80, or if you want to do any other setting. So I will use that if it's a big move down, there's a big tail down. Sometimes I use the RTI crossing up to maybe get me in before it gets to the 50.
Yeah, I just when I was looking at this, and that's something I looked at. It just at the time,
It doesn't always work.
Yeah,
So,
I mean nothing. Yeah. We're definitely in agreement on that. Nothing works all the time. If that were the case, you wouldn't need to listen to any of us. So, but yeah, he's talking about the green line crossing the blue line. Is that right?
Well, the blue line is the average and the green
That's
line is the RTI number
right.
itself. So
So
when the
yeah.
green crosses the blue, either up or down, I also start looking for a change in direction. You don't always get it, but I start looking for it. And if I get the crossing of the RTI over the average either way, and I start to see the cumulative delta candles start confirming that. And I also happen to look at stochastics for whatever that's worth, but I might take the trade. And if you're in the green or the red, and it's a decent spread where you're looking to get a significant move, I might take that trade. But that's sort of to me, just the short little sideways movements, they're still trending. They go up and down. They're short trends, they're small trends. They're trends on 2 minute or 5 minute. It's not a big trend, but if you want to play that for 1% or whatever, that's a way. It's not obviously the only way, but that's how I've used it. And those candles turned red when you were still basically going sideways, and then you got the big move down, and you got finally that giant elephant candle with a wick in the Velez way of describing it. And then that's the time to maybe close that trade out because it started turning green and going sideways. So I would have taken that big short right there, most likely. I didn't happen to trade Doge, and I don't know that I would have been up at that time. It was at midnight or something.
Yeah, that's around midnight. So
and it's easy in retrospect, obviously, to see the moves. But I put the chart, I shifted over to see how it developed, and you get a feeling. And when you start seeing that change in the color and the size of those volume candles, and you begin to see the RTI number, the line moving up towards or down towards its average, then I'm more often than not probably going to take that trade. And if it doesn't work, I kill it. Now I'm manually trading. Whether you can automate it or not, I'm not good.
I don't think so.
You're the guys that you and Craig could figure that out if anybody can. I don't, but that's how I use it anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry to take over there, but
no, it's okay. I'm trying some different things just because I don't want to be boring.
You may find a better way or something better. I'm open to, because I wasn't using this 6 months ago. So yeah, I'm open.
All right.
Show me something better, I'll drop it.
That's right. All right. So let's move on from Doge. Let's do one more on Altcoin Alert and refresh. with long-term sentiment. It's one of my favorites. So I'm going to try to match up long-term sentiment with elder impulse. So I've got sentiment, which people are talking about online. Elder impulse is a technical indicator. You can hover over these question marks and get a better description. And when I get a match, that's something I'm going to look at in a little more detail. Got INJ, IOTEX. It's an older one. And that's about it. So let's look at INJ, injective protocol. Okay, on the 5. Again, we're stuck in no man's land. Looking pretty squeezy on the Bollinger Bands. Yeah, less than 1%. So got support down here around 733. That might be a good place for a price alert. And a little bit more support here at 747, but we're pretty close to that now. On the 15-minute chart with our indicators, we've got a dip down here in the green zone and coming back up. That would have been a 20 value. An entry here with strong confirmation from the cumulative delta. So I like this entry. Again, it's probably going to be triggered either here or here. And probably still be in that trade. As far as those crossing the 50, got a long here on Saturday morning that had a small profit. And then a dip down here on the short side, obviously caught that big move down. So those would have been good entries. And a quick review, how do you put an alert on the RTI? Right click. And for my crossover 50, it's the first one listed. And there are several options. This is the one I use, once per bar close. And that's an AA, actually it's a long-term sentiment buy sort. And notifications. I use 3 notes reverb for my 50 and Chirpy for the 80-20. So that's how you do that. And then on the 80-20, if you want to catch a move that goes up above the 80 and comes back, more of a retrace, or dips below the 20 and comes back up, which would be a good example would be this one here that we just went over. That option, if you want to go both directions, we're going to enter a channel, 80 on top, 20 on bottom. And you might remember I used to do this with the RSI for 70-30. For the RTI, it's 80-20. And if you want to be even pickier, you can go with 90-10 or 85-25 or something like that. And call it what you want, and you're good to go. Now, if you're just trading spot, then you're just gonna want it to go above, crossing up the 20 value. Once per bar close, long-term sentiment. And so this will stay on until you turn it off, and each time it dips below the 20 and comes back up, that alert will go off. And let's see, how do we find these indicators, CJ? I don't know where they are. So for the RTI, that one's pretty easy. We use our relative trend index by Zierman. Cumulative data. Delta, my bad. Yeah, by Noop Noop. And again, this is Frank's suggestion. So if you don't like this, blame him. But, no, I'm kidding. I think it has promise for staying in trades longer and for confirmation. So
I'll take the blame. No problem.
All right. Frank's got thick skin. Okay, any questions or comments on INJ? Okay, we'll do one more Altcoin Alert, and then we'll head over to iCoinPro. So we did a AA score, an Elder Impulse. Let's do social activity. Those are the three sorts I do the most. And I'm looking for fire, or fire, thumbs up, or thumbs up, fire, some combination of that. And this is a similar sort than the one we just did with long-term sentiment, Elder Impulse. So we got fire on BNT. And let's see if there's anything I like to trade here. XYO is on Coinbase. That can be pretty good. Let's look at that one. We'll do a spot trade. Okay, on the 5 minutes, it's hanging around support now. So this one's been beaten down a little bit more than the others. So this is, it's almost a 1, 2, 3 dip. It's not a perfect structure because we don't have a really well-defined squeeze and bubble, but there is a squeeze and bubble here. 1, 2. Technically, this hits the SMA line, which invalidates, but it dips again. Doesn't quite break through the Bollinger Band, but so as far as a 1, 2, 3 dip, it's not a good example, but it is on the bottom of the zone. So that could be a good place to get in on a spot trade for XYO on Coinbase. Let's take a better look at this on the 15-minute with indicators. It's looks squeezy, but it actually has 5% between the Bollinger Bands, which is really good. And it's got a range up here to 387. We're at 306 now. So if this retraced all the way, I mean, that's a great trade. I mean, it was up there just, a day and a half ago. I'd probably be more conservative and look at this resistance here at around 322 and pick up 5% on a spot trade. Just looking at the candle action and the range. Now, if we're going to look at our indicator on the RTI, we don't have a value going above 50. So looking at 80-20, we get across right about here, I believe. Yeah, right here at 10:45 this morning. So, it's in the zone. I would have taken that trade with this information. I don't really have confirmation from the cumulative data, though. I got to get used to taking that into consideration. It's still new to me.
Right. I wouldn't
So
have
I wouldn't have taken
taken it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that rules it out. So that's a good thing.
That's how I use it. So you got it.
All right, cool. All right, don't take that one. Keep waiting on it. It's already dipped back below, so it's due to come back again above the 20. And if the cumulative delta, I keep calling it cumulative data, but cumulative delta confirms, pull the trigger. Not trading advice. Okay. Any questions on XYO? Okay, let's look at iCoinPro, the home of the 1, 2, 3 dip. They're going over some overhaul of their platform. And they've got this new trading software, trading portal. And I'm not using this yet. I've watched 2 of their videos and it's still not really quite clicking for me. They've got some more training coming up this week, so I have to have better information next Monday. But for now, I'm still using this the old way, which is the RSI SPY. Now the RSI SPY is going to look at the 1 hour RSI and look for values that are below 30. And since the whole market dipped today, there's a lot of contenders. So all these have been beaten down and are due for a recovery. Let's see, they have some Bitcoin pairs in here, which I don't trade much. Rune, I like to trade. This one had some bad news last week and I shorted it, did pretty well. It had a compromise of its system, and that will always tank a coin if that happens. So I don't know about this one. Is a day trade, might be a better long swing or long-term swing trade. Let's see what else we've got. ICP. I like shorting that one. I don't like trading it long. Jasmy I like. We can look at Jasmy, and we've got this drop-down menu. Click on Trading View, and it'll go there. I'm not sure if it'll give me the layout I want, so I will try that and see what happens. Usually goes to the most recent layout, and yeah, it's going to go to my basic chart, which I use for the Ethereum and Bitcoin that we look at. So I will go to this manually. So I have it right here, 5-minute chart. And it just kind of puts it around the bottom of the range here at 3160. Could do a price alert down here at 3134. We're pretty close to that now. So if you want to get in with the small position, I don't know, the delta's not helping us on that. So I probably wouldn't take that trade yet on the 5-minute chart. On the 15, still close to the bottom of the zone. Delta's trending down. RTI is trending down. So this is not a good entry yet. It could be if the RTI hooks up, crosses the 20, and then we get confirmation on the cumulative delta. We don't have either of those at the moment. So I would probably set an alert on the RTI, either with a crossover of the 50, which is a stronger trend, or try to catch that retrace with entering a channel going 80-20. I think I'll do that one. 80-20 on Jasmy. Alert name, this is the RSI SPY. And I'll go with 3 notes. And there's my alert for Jasmy. Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, let's see. Well, Sand is one I've traded off and on over the XTZ. You know, Tezos doesn't always move that well. Let's go with Sand. Yeah. Five-minute chart. Super squeezy. Bollinger Bands less than 1%. Don't like that. Could be a price alert down here at 28 cents. We're 28.35 at the moment. On the 15, pretty close to crossing the 20. I might want to go 50 on this one if I'm going long. So if I want a 50 value, I right click here, add an alert, crossover on 50, and that's RSI SPY, and those should be the same. I don't trust these values going above 20 in this particular setup due to, you know, the drama we've had in the market the last couple of days. So I want to see a stronger move than usual. And then I'll look to my, you know, it's coming out of the green zone. And then I'll look to my cumulative delta to see if the trend is strong enough to support a trade entry at that time. So that's how I would approach that one. Okay, any questions on sand? Let's do one more on iCoinPro. I wonder if there's anything we can short. Oh, here we go. Loom. Don't know if that's. Let's find out. That's on Bybit or something. It's on BitGet spot, Bybit contract. Yes, we can trade this one. All right, so we're on the 5-minute chart. We are at the top of the range, which is where we usually want to get in. We want to buy shorts at resistance, and that's where we are at the moment on the 5-minute chart. The cumulative delta is a little more enthusiastic this time. We've got this trend action here. Last 4 candles red, but not quite the spike down I'd want to see. So it's a definite maybe. Let's go to the 15, get a better look at the. Okay, this is intriguing. But we got faked out last time. Last time we went above the 80 and broke through just a little bit, and then it bounced back up. These are the fake outs. So
it's showing you divergence though. You have the big green mountain, and then you go to a higher price, but the big spike on the green is lower, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So I would expect relatively soon a move down. You may not get it, but I would really be looking for it.
Yeah, agreed. So to catch that, if you don't want to sit here and just watch, right click here, add an alert, and we can crossing down on the 80. Once per bar close, and that's RSI SPY. And I'm kind of curious about that one. I have to trade it manually though. I like trading through my software. I'll put it here anyway. All right, so that's a short option on Loom. Now, if you want to try to catch this to dip and then bounce, you could use that 50 option that we talked about earlier, but I don't know about that. We'll see. Okay, any questions on Loom? Well, I think I'll wrap it up here. Unless you have any other questions about the markets overall, or
hey, can you throw Bitcoin back on?
all right.
Put it on 2. Just start with 2 minute.
Do you want the cumulative on this?
Yeah.
Your
other
different layout then.
Layout. I look at 2 minute, then I look at 5 and 15, and look for that big move down earlier today.
It's here.
Yeah. Okay. Then go to the 5. Okay.
It's here.
So when it went down, you see cumulative start moving up. That's just telling you there are some big people going in. They're buying it on the low.
So it might have been, if I'm following the cumulative, I might have bought here off these 3. That's a pretty strong move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does peter out, but it does bounce back. You know, I'm down 1%, but I'm
look
here.
at look at around 945, 950 when it bottoms out the lowest,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see all those green candles.
Yeah.
Those are aggressive buyers. That's what makes it green.
But I think people are going to ask, well, how is this really different than just the candle action?
Well, it's showing you on the volume the balance or imbalance. The bigger the green or the red means there's much more buyers or sellers. It's not even. In other words, it's not like equal number of buyers and sellers. You're kind of in balance. The market maker is having to absorb. He's having to sell stock or sell coins or buy coins because there isn't somebody else on the other side at the moment. So the aggressive buyers have jumped in to push it back up. They saw that was a really low price. And
All right.
that's how I interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the length of those cumulative candles going down, the part that's red or green is the difference between an exact split, an even number of buyers and sellers. That's how I view it.
Right. And you talked about this before, say on these green candles here, if we're just looking at the candles, there might just be one more buyer than
Right,
seller.
exactly.
So
You
it's
don't know
green.
how
You don't know the,
green it is.
yeah.
It's just if it's more than one coin or more than $1, whatever they're using, they're going to make the whole candle green.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Any other questions or comments before we wrap this up?
Oh, thanks, guys.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Good to have you aboard. Hope you join us again. And if you're watching on the recording, hope to have you live next time on Friday or Monday. And please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel. If you're a Carbon member, you'll need to exit and come back in about 14 minutes, and we'll start that Zoom call. For everyone else, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.